What happens when Homer becomes a superstar? The episode starts with Homer injuring himself at a funeral. He is taken to the hospital where Homer discovers he can sing opera beautifully, but only while lying down. This newfound talent lands him the lead in a musical, making him a celebrity and attracting the attention of many women. A bunch of women ambush Homer and Marge, but they get rescued by an obsessive fangirl named Julia. She ends up becoming president for Homer's fan club and his personal assistant. Julia's advances towards Homer become increasingly aggressive, resulting in her threatening to accuse Homer of attacking her if he tells anyone.
But if you say one word to your wife, I'll tell her you attacked me.
Homer heavily resists on multiple occasions. She ultimately tries to kill him with a poison-tipped blow dart during one of his performances, but Marge saves him by deflecting the dart, which hits Julia instead. Despite the chaos, Homer decides to give up his opera career and pursue painting. What happens when Lisa starts dreaming in church? Lisa dreams she is Miriam, with Milhouse as Moses. They confront Principal Skinner as King Ramsey, demanding freedom for their people. After several failed plagues and escaping a pyramid prison, they lead the Israelites to the shore and drain the sea by flushing all the Egyptians' toilets. As the sea refills, it washes away Ramses and his guards. When Moses asks Lisa if their future will be easy, she evades the question, hinting at the 40 years of wandering. Homer dreams of being King Solomon. In a case between Lenny and Carl over ownership of a pie, Solomon decides to eat the pie himself, sentencing both to death. Before another bizarre case, Jesus versus Checker Chariot, can proceed, Bart wakes Homer up. What happens when Lisa becomes jealous of Maggie? The episode starts with Maggie being accepted into a gifted school, where it is discovered that she has an IQ of 167, surpassing Lisa's 159. This shatters Lisa's self-image as the smart one of the family, leading her on a quest to redefine herself, trying roles like comedian, goth, cheerleader, rapper, soccer player, and cowgirl, all unsuccessfully. Lisa then runs away from home and hides in the Natural History Museum. The family asks the police to find her, only to find her belongings at the museum. The family enters a human body exhibit in search of Lisa, and Maggie accidentally hits the swallow button, causing Homer, Marge, and Bart to be swallowed. Maggie frantically presses various buttons until Lisa suddenly shows up and guides Maggie by a color. She finds the evacuate button and frees them. Ironically, after this heroic act, Maggie's intelligence is exposed when Henry, the owner of Mrs. Wickerbottoms, shows a tape revealing that Lisa had subconsciously helped Maggie during the audition. In the end, Maggie plays Lisa's saxophone, displaying her intelligence. What happens when Marge falls asleep in church? The episode starts with the Simpsons in church, listening to a long and boring Easter sermon during an outrageous heat wave. Marge falls asleep and dreams of herself as Eve and Homer as Adam. Ned Flanders plays the role of God, who forbids them from eating the forbidden fruit. However, Snake Jailbird, as the snake, tempts Homer into eating the apples. Homer then convinces Marge to eat one as well. Marge gets caught by God and gets expelled from the Garden of Eden. Homer attempts to sneak Marge back in by using various animals to dig a tunnel, but they are caught again, leading to both being expelled from the garden. What happens when Mr. Burns discovers he has a son? The episode starts with Mr. Burns returning from a college football game on his train. Larry, a souvenir stand operator, realizes Burns is his father after comparing an old photo of Burns. He tries to catch up but fails, only able to get the destination from the conductor. Larry hitches a ride with the Simpsons to Burns' mansion. Burns confirms Larry's identity by checking for a family birthmark on his head. Burns and Larry try to bond, but Larry's behavior embarrasses Burns at a high society gala. Burns gives Larry a job at the power plant, where he becomes friends with Homer, making him worse after bonding with Homer. Burns grows fed up with Larry and disowns him. Homer suggests a fake kidnapping to make Burns appreciate Larry. Homer and Larry hide in the Simpsons' basement. They move to a movie theater where the police surround them. The police try to arrest Homer for kidnapping, but Larry admits he supported the kidnapping idea to receive attention from his father. Burns acknowledges Larry, but says he can't be the family Larry needs. Larry decides to go back to his own wife and kids and throws a street party before leaving. What happens when Mr. Burns falls in love? The episode begins with Lisa interviewing Lifeboat CEO Franny O'Dare about her company. Franny needs a billionaire to fund her project, and Lisa suggests Mr. Burns. After several failed attempts, Franny finally convinces Mr. Burns to become her business partner. The company's performance skyrockets, leading to an unexpected twist. Mr. Burns and Franny get married. Deeply in love with his wife, Mr. Burns gives Franny everything, even buying Twitter to delete all hate posts about her. Soon, an anonymous whistleblower reveals that Carl has been kidnapped after confronting Franny about the company's secrets. As always, Mr. Burns does damage control by buying the documentary about his wife. They discover the whistleblower is Homer, who, along with Lisa, has uncovered Lifeboat's secret ingredient, a super sweet soda soda called Jabba Toast that masks the salty taste of ocean water. Before Lifeboat can poison children, Homer urges Mr. Burns to open his eyes to his spouse's flaws. Realizing he doesn't want to be liable for Pranny's failed product, Mr. Burns divorces her and tries his best to move on. What happens when Mr. Burns creates a meatless burger? The episode begins with Mr. Burns trying a hamburger for the first time and loving it, but it soon affects his health. Fearing he might die without anyone caring, Mr. Burns worries. Smithers, concerned for his boss, hires Professor Frink to create a healthy burger. Mr. Burns loves it, especially since he can profit from it, and he believes it will make him beloved after his death. Lisa tastes the burger first and approves, leading to excitement about the launch of Mr. Burns' excellent burger. However, Krusty the Clown is upset because he's going out of business, and Bart is concerned for him. Bart convinces Lisa and Milhouse to investigate Mr. Burns' business, and they discover that the burger uses endangered plants from the Amazon rainforest. Lisa tries to get Homer to expose this, but he hesitates, fearing retaliation. However, after a strange dream, Homer decides to do the right thing and stops the launch of the excellent burger. Surprisingly, Mr. Burns is relieved that he no longer has to pretend to care about being liked. What happens when Peter buys a hologram maker? The episode starts with the Griffins attending the Halloween carnival. Peter explores the hallway of holograms and meets its owner, who shows off his Holomaker 9000, a device that can create interactive holograms. Wanting to use it as a way out of menial tasks, Peter buys the machine and creates a competent, pleasant hologram of himself who takes care of his duties at home while he hangs out at the Clam. After 3 days of leisure, Peter arrives home in a bender and sees how happy his family is without the real him around, but gets jealous when he sees his hologram making out with Lois. After being confronted, the hologram agrees to disappear, but traps Peter in the basement instead, plotting to take the Griffins for his own after claiming that he loves them more than the real Peter does. Lois eventually realizes that the new Peter is fake upon discovering his unusually clean habits, but fails to evacuate her family before they are all captured. The real Peter escapes and nearly gets beaten in a fight, but the hologram is defeated thanks to static electricity generated by Stewie. Peter apologizes for his actions, but Lois assures him that the hologram represented the best version of himself. What happens when everyone in Springfield turns into plant zombies? The episode begins with the late founder of Maple, Steve Mobs, introducing a new product to his audience, aided by his unfunny clone. Unbeknownst to everyone, the less interesting Steve is a plant alien planning to take over Earth. On a plant planet, spores are shot to Earth. Everyone is too focused on their phones to notice the spores infecting them, turning them into zombies. In Springfield, everyone transforms into plant versions, including Otto, who has a marijuana leaf for a head. Bart and Lisa try to escape in Lou's police car, but Lou is transformed into a plant, and soon after, Bart and Lisa are also infested. The plants engulf Lisa, causing her to have strange hallucinations akin to an acid trip. She awakens to find two plant-like aliens helping her up, welcoming her to what they call paradise. All of Springfield is there, including her parents. The plant aliens explain they saved them from being pod people, but their utopia without technology is short-lived, as the Simpsons hold up smartphones they found under the living room Christmas tree. So much for a happy ending. What happens when Sideshow Bob becomes a scientist? The episode starts with Lisa discovering that GMOs are good for the world. At a fair, a Monsanto research representative invites Lisa to their campus to meet their chief scientist, Sideshow Bob. Apparently, he volunteered as a test subject, leading to him becoming a scientist. Surprisingly, Bob and Lisa share a connection, causing her to visit and experiment with him, but Lisa wonders if he's plotting revenge. Bob denies the accusations. One day, Bob gets to spend an hour of freedom with Lisa in a museum, but their bonding gets interrupted by a giant display model that would have crushed Lisa if Bob hadn't saved her. But why is he so strong? Well, Bob's been changing his DNA. He'll add more from the most intelligent historical figures. Bart arrives to rescue Lisa, but it seems impossible to outrun Bob's extraordinary abilities, so Lisa and Bart lure him into singing before he drops them into deep water. Luckily, Homer arrives in time. To end his misery, Bob decides to jump into the water instead, but unaliving himself would be impossible because he gave himself gills, so now you know. What happens when the Simpsons get possessed by a demon? The episode starts with a Pazuzu statue being discovered and accidentally shipped to the Simpson home after. Possessed, Homer sings the Pazuzu lullaby to Maggie, placing the statue in her crib. Immediately after Homer leaves, Pazuzu possesses Maggie. Downstairs, Marge and Homer host a cocktail party. The possessed Maggie soon makes her presence known, killing a complaining Helen Lovejoy and locking everyone indoors. She then murders Dr. Hibbert after revealing his infidelity. Ned Flanders informs the Simpsons that Maggie needs an exorcism, but is killed trying to restrain her. Homer and Marge manage to tie Maggie down with Bible ribbons, causing her head to rotate 360 degrees. An Irish Catholic priest arrives, tests Pazuzu's power, and performs the exorcism.
I say, devil be out!
Pazuzu leaves Maggie, but possesses Bart instead. Realizing Bart's evilness, Pazuzu regrets it. Bart demands horns, which Pazuzu reluctantly grows, impaling through Homer's nose. Homer, now uncomfortable, but hopeful the horns will exempt him from jury duty, later finds himself serving on a jury with a horn still in his nose, exclaiming, What happens when Bart starts dreaming in church? Bart dreams he is King David. After defeating Goliath, his friend Methuselah is killed by Goliath II, who is the son of Goliath. David attempts to kill Goliath II, but is slingshotted away. He confides in shepherd Ralph Wiggum, who tries and fails to kill Goliath too. David sneaks into Goliath's tower and blows it up. Goliath survives the explosion, but is killed by Ralph with his own tombstone. David is then imprisoned for regicide, as the people believe Goliath was a better king. The Simpsons wake up in church with everyone gone, only to find the rapture occurring. The Flanders ascend to heaven, while the Simpsons, except for Lisa, are condemned to hell. Homer pulls Lisa down with them. They descend into hell, where Homer laments the lack of hot dogs and the presence of pineapple and German potato salad. What happens when Homer eats a radioactive donut? The episode starts with Homer eating a donut near the turbine room at the Springfield nuclear power plant. He accidentally drops it into a hazardous area. The donut rolls through radioactive elements and dirt, eventually returning to Homer, who eats it. Next day, he burps near Ned, spreading a green cloud with Homer's DNA. At church, Ned begins to experience strange side effects, eventually transforming into Homer. Confused, Ned complains about missing football while at church. The virus quickly spreads across Springfield, affecting nearly everyone. To stop the virus, Homer's DNA is required, but he refuses to comply because he likes the fact that everyone now behaves and looks like him. Dr. Frink tells Homer that not everyone needs to be like him, and he shows him a hybrid of Homer and Marge called Marge Him. Homer surprisingly enjoys this new hybrid and revels in a world of himself. In a mishap, he accidentally punctures Frink's hazmat suit with a back scratcher, exposing him to the virus as well, turning him into Homer.